Turin is a city in the north of Italy, and while you may know this, you may not know that it is the most esoteric city of the whole of Italy. Why though? You should know that Turin is located at the intersection of two triangles, that of white magic with Lyon and Prague, and that of black magic with London and San Francisco. So it is a very powerful center of both white and black magic. Plus, there are many architectural and historical links with Freemasonry and esotericism. So let's dive into this. We are in Piazza Solferino Square, and I'm sitting right by the Fountain of the Four Seasons, Fontana delle Quattro Stagioni, also known as Fountain Angelica. This was made by the architect and sculptor Giovanni Riva, and it took 7 years to finish. It was finished in 1930. If you know me, you know that I think that magic is the equivalent of effort and intention. So I think this is pretty magical by itself for this reason. But there's more, of course. The figurative conception of the work officially depicts the four seasons, but it can be interpreted on a deeper symbolic level with symbols deriving from the rituals of Freemasonry. So we have spring, which is depicted as a young maiden, and she's the emblem of virtue. She holds a nest with some birds, and there's a baby launching a flock of swallows that are soaring through the air, and this upward movements symbolizes a very spiritual kind of movement. In contrast to this, we have summer, and she's represented by an older woman, and she represents actually vice, so the opposite of virtue. And you can see she's older and she's holding a lot of material symbols like fruit and corn. The remaining two figures are two males, and they represent fall and winter, but they also are Jachin and Boaz, which are the two giants guarding the Pillars of Hercules. The Pillars of Hercules mark the boundary of the world, and if you look closely, you will see, well, not too closely, actually pretty obvious to see, but you see that the space between them is a rectangle. So it is said that this space is a door, it's a portal to knowledge. Now, andiamo, next spot. We are just a few steps away from Piazza Solferino. Right now I am by a building that is now a bank, but formerly was the home of a Masonic lodge. On the outer perimeter, on the sidewalk, there is a series of strange slits in the shape of eyes. I mean, sure, historians have identified them as lightning and venting points, but the question remains, why make them eye-shaped? I love me a good story without an explanation. Just a couple hundred meters away from the Devil's Eyes, we have the Devil's Doorway. This one right behind me, which is now open, so I have filmed for you, but it's open, so you have to imagine it closed. Because this building is currently the Banca Nazionale del Lavoro, so the National Bank of Work, but they also call it the Devil's Palace due to the Devil's Doorway, which is this thing behind me. This doorway is absolutely huge and it is beautifully carved, but this is not the reason why we're including this in this video. On the doorway is represented the face of the devil scanning the visitors knocking in. Also, the metal handle of the door is formed by two snakes joining with their heads in the center. Pretty creepy by itself. There are so many legends surrounding this place. I'm not gonna bore you with the history, but I'm just gonna tell you the most famous one. Though the door was carved in 1675, and that's history, we know this, legend has it that it appeared out of nowhere in one night. A sorcerer's apprentice that night tried to invoke all of the dark forces, including Satan himself. The devil, annoyed by this invocation, decided to punish the sorcerer's apprentice by locking him into this gateway. So the man was never able to come out again. He's probably still there somewhere. There is also a ghost story around this building, but I don't know if you guys are ready for ghost stories just yet. Or whatever, I'm gonna tell you anyway. In 1790, during a carnival party inside the palace, a dancer was stabbed to death. Nobody saw who the killer was, so they got away with it. The guests were horrified, and many claim to have seen the ghost of the poor woman that still haunts the building to this day. Sorry, just a quick interruption to let you guys know that I have created a digital PDF guide about Turin. You can find the link in the description below. So you will find everything I mentioned in this video, plus some food recommendation, food places, a gluten-free section, because I have celiac in case you didn't know, and some extra things that you can see and do in Turin. So go check it out. And now I think we're gonna catch a bus, because the next location is a bit further away. This has absolutely nothing to do with the video, but this garage is given creepy. I've actually decided to walk because it's about 800 meters, so it's actually pretty close. We can walk. We are at the Royal Gardens of Piazza Castello, of the Gardens of the Royal Palace. And this place is truly magical, especially love it, because everyone comes here to just chill and relax and soak in the sun, because today's sunny. And is it a coincidence that this is actually the center of white magic of all of Turin? So in particular, the fountain that we're standing in front of, the Fountain of Tritons, is the epicenter of all of the white magic of Turin. I don't think it's a coincidence. I can definitely tell you that this place is magical and you have to come see it for yourself. This is the east side of the city, and this marks the border between the east side and the west side of the city, because on the west side, where the sun sets, things are different. Things are darker. We're gonna see in just a few minutes a very different center that is not of white magic. We are now in Piazza Statuto, the Black Heart of Turin, the center of black magic, which is opposed to Piazza Castello, which is the center of white magic. But why is this place associated with the heart of black magic? This negative attribution is probably due to the fact that until 1863, here stood the so-called Val Uccisorum, the place where the gallows of the condemned to death was, and also the necropolis where the dead were buried. And that's not all. In 1879 here, it was erected a very particular monument, the monument of the Frejus Tunnel. It has a pyramid structure made of boulders specially transported from Mount Frejus. It is surmounted by a winged genius, beneath which are marble figures of titans. These titans are trying to climb to the genius, which is the symbol of knowledge. One of the hands of the genius is holding a quill, and the other hand is almost trying to stop these figures from climbing up to him. I personally say that this is one of my favorite monuments that I've seen so far in Turin. Just the juxtaposition of the marble and the boulders of the mountain makes it very powerful. Beside the monument, a truly dark event sadly took place in this square. In February 1983, the municipality organizes a devil-themed carnival. The next day, February 13th, a fire breaks out in the cinema adjacent to the square. 64 people suffocate to death, as the emergency exit doors were all locked except for one. This was an awful tragedy on a national scale, and it also involved some very creepy coincidences. The movie that was playing is called The Goat, synonymous of bad luck in French, but also a symbol of the devil. Furthermore, the number of victims was strangely symmetrical: 31 men, 31 women, one boy of only 7 years old, and one girl. 64 in total, and as some esotericist experts note, this number is also the number of the squares on the chessboard on which devil plays his game. And now, for the grand finale, we are by the symbol of Turin, the Mole Antonelliana. And we are here because this is probably the most powerful center of white magic of the whole city. In fact, the Mole, which is this huge building behind me, which is 167.5 meters high, it is said to be an antenna radiating positive energy onto the city of Turin, taking it from underground. You can also go up to the very top of the Mole, but you have to book your ticket sorry about that, in advance, like a month before. So obviously we cannot do that today because of my poor planning. But if you want to visit, just know that you have to go to the website and book it in advance. That's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed Turin and it made you curious about the city in case you didn't know it already. And don't forget to download my guide in the description below. And I guess I'll see you in my next video. Ciao!